3. Baseball trick shots. Wait.
Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to talk about the difference between premium and collectibles, because both of those tanks seem to have the exact same abilities, whereas when you take a deeper look, I should say, on their statistics, there are one or two things that are completely changing. Don't worry, I'm not talking about their abilities on the battlefield, but something much more interesting that could be an indicator for you to know either you want to buy a premium or a collectible. So let's not lose too much time and jump directly into it. First thing first, guys, let's talk about the premium status, which is the oldest out of all the status we're going to talk about, beside, of course, Tech Tree tanks. But they have been here since the beginning of the game. And for those of you who are really OG, so before the 5.5 update, you remember when collectibles were not existent. We were not aware that collectibles were going to be implemented. Nothing, literally nothing. It was either Tech Tree tank or premium. They all had the same status. Nowadays, it changed. Basically, the premium status is the yellow one in the garage, and it means that this tank will bring you more credits, and also that it's not subject to nerf. Wargaming policy on premiums is extremely clear. Once they implement a premium tank that you bought with real money, they will not nerf it. The only way for them to nerf it is to actually power creep it by either putting in the shop even more broken premium tanks or increasing the statistics of already existing Tech Tree tanks. But they will not touch the core of the problem, which is the premium tank itself. Of course, as they don't allow themselves to nerf it, they still allow them to buff it, which is kind of logic, because if you buy a tank for money and Wargaming tells you we're gonna buff the tank you bought, of course you are gonna be happy. Whereas if they tell you we are gonna nerf the $50 tank you just bought, you're gonna be a little bit spicy and angry toward Wargaming, which is totally logic. So that's basically what the premium status is. One last thing, out of all the tanks in this game, when it comes to making credits, premiums have the best, and I really want to insist on that, the best credit coefficient. If your only purpose with premium tanks or with tanks that make money in general is only to make credits and not have fun, then you should definitely consider buying a premium tank with the yellow status and not a collectible. It's extremely important. Now guys, let's talk about the second status, aka collectible, or the one that appeared after the 5.5 update, and that was created basically to justify the possibility for Wargaming to nerf premiums. Let me explain to you briefly. The premiums, as I told you, are not subject to getting nerf. They can get buffed, but not nerfed. Whereas the collectibles, Wargaming allow themselves to actually touch those tanks if they consider those are too strong, even after you bought them. I want to keep it real with you. It never happened. Never since the start of collectible tanks or the appearance of collectible tanks have I seen Wargaming nerfing a single collectible. I saw them buffing some, for example the Predator and the Vindicator, but never did I saw them touch a collectible to nerf it, which is kind of secure, because just imagine, I know Wargaming legally allows them to do that, but just imagine you spending $50 to get the Smasher, and one update after, the tank is nerfed to death and made quite unusable and not fun anymore. You would rage, and you would be like, damn, Wargaming, you're kind of a bitchy company, and that's totally logic. I mean, who likes to throw money at something that they really want just for it to be completely changed? But that's pretty much what the collectible status was made for, basically, for tanks that still have a premium status, because out of the premiums and collectibles, or in the collectibles, you have two different collectibles that we have to spare. We have on one side the collectibles that have a high credit coefficient, for example the Smasher, the Vindicator, the Predator, all the tanks that will be sooner or later sell in the shop, but with a collectible status. And on the other side we have the collector status, which is not collectible. It's not the same thing. The collector status, guys, is basically tanks that are made blue in the garage, so they are out of the tech tree. But even if you have them, they will not bring more credits than a traditional tech tree tank. So they basically have the status without having all the advantages that are coming with. And is that a bad thing? I don't think so, but I'm gonna show you what I mean by collectors right now. Basically, guys, the collectors, so the tanks that don't have a high credit coefficient and that were made out of the tech tree after the 5.5 update, are all the tanks Wargaming decided to get rid of to make the game more comfortable for newbies and to make the grind easier and the matchmaking less painful for everybody. Pretty much, for example, here we're playing the Kehoe, which is now a collectible, but was back in the days a tech tree tank. That's all the tech tree tanks that got removed, basically. Those tech tree tanks, you might think, hey, Wargaming, maybe you could put them back, and they are doing this. They are putting all of them back in kind of a battle pass, but switching their status to premium. Back in the days when you were playing with the AMX-40, you didn't do any credits. Nowadays, as its premium status or collectible status got improved to a point where its credit coefficient had been increased, this tank is now having the collectible status, but with the advantages of a premium tank. I don't know if Wargaming is going to keep going with them again and again and putting back all the tier 4 they just sacrificed during this 5.5 update. We'll have to wait to see it, but I think it's kind of a bitch move from Wargaming to do that. Like, they were in the tech tree and now you're selling them. Why? Just leave them in the tech tree. I mean, I can understand Wargaming, don't mind me, as they are they're in the battle pass, but it's actually a gift, not necessarily something you buy, because what you want to buy is the Eraser, the Magnus, the Icebreaker. You don't really care about the tier 4. It's just a nice gesture for Wargaming to putting them back into the battle pass. But as we know, all the battle pass are extremely popular, so basically they removed all those tanks to see them all getting back into the matchmaking, but instead of just giving it away like they should, because those are tech tree, they decided, hey, you know what, let's sell them. Nah, it's like they take us for idiots or something. At least it's only my opinion. Maybe Wargaming has a justification, and I'm sure they do, but even if they have one, I don't really care. But that's pretty much the difference between premiums, collectibles, and collectors. I hope this video helped you finding out which one is made for you. But if you have to choose, if you want to make credits, definitely go for a premium. If you want to have fun, depends your playstyle, you can go to both premiums and collectibles. And if you want a collector, you had to play the game before the 5.5 update or wait for all the battle pass and buy all of them to be able to get back all those tanks we all loved back in the days. Hope you've enjoyed that video. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like, and share. And I'm going to see you soon for a new one. Au revoir.